Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, whichever. For those of you that may not know, I had COVID last week, so I was out for the count, but I've managed to pull through the other side. And obviously the Vintage Gods, clothing gods have been looking down on me because they gave me a fantastic haul today when I finally was able to hit the op shops again. This is about half of what I've got, what I managed to pick up today. The most expensive thing I bought today was a $5 pair of shoes. The rest of this, all this clothing here, cost either $1 or less. A lot of it, the stuff on the top is off the Salvo's $1 rack. Underneath, when I get to it, I'll tell you when there's a change in that, is from another little private op shop where they allow me to stuff a bag full, and depending who's working and how much I've stuffed it with, they'll charge me varying prices. So today they charged me $5 for my little shopping trolley. And so the stuff I got from there probably has cost me about 30 cents a piece. The shoes are from that particular second little op shop, but I just thought I'd get them out of the way first. So these are a nice little pair of leather Mary Harland made in Australia black comfort shoes. They're only a size 7C, but as you can see, they've had hardly any wear, so they'll still be quite nice. This top is amazing. This is a Wishstone Collingwood top and is vintage because it actually says Wishstone Collingwood. Their newer stuff actually will say Melbourne or just Australia. I'm not entirely sure. This fabric is absolutely amazing. I saw the bright colours when I first saw it on the rack and thought that was great. But on closer inspection, and I haven't really, I'm not 100% sure, but there's pictures of all these old buildings on here. And, I mean, because they're blurry, it's a little bit hard to 100% make out what they are. But my cursory first inspection is, I think that's the old Royal, the old Royal Exhibition buildings in Melbourne. There's another one which I think is a picture of a bridge, possibly the Westgate Bridge, maybe. But I'm going to have a bit of a closer look at that. Regardless of that, though, it is a lovely little top. The colours are gorgeous, short sleeves. It's an XXL, which is fantastic. And yeah, nice little piece with the nice little pleats at the front. Next, I was pretty excited to find this. For those of you that I may not have mentioned before, I actually live in the middle of central Victoria, out in the bush, basically in a very small country town. So I don't have a lot of choice in op shops to go to. These are from a neighbouring town where I do go, which is about half an hour down the road from where I live. And you often don't think in this little small country towns that you're going to get this sort of stuff. But this one's a ripper. This is a vintage Laura Ashley, size 14. Obviously never been worn. Hasn't got the tags, but we still do have the button attached. So that's pretty impressive, I think. It is made in Australia. It's in fantastic condition, obviously having not been worn, and just so vintage Laura Ashley with those ruffles around the neckline. So that was $1. These aren't vintage, I don't think, but these are a pair of David Lawrence jeans. Look, I don't normally pick up size 10 in jeans. I tend to only try and I do pick up some 12s, but I generally try to go 14 and up because I do like to specialise in plus sizes. But given that these are David Lawrence and they cost $1, I wasn't going to leave them there. They're just a straight leg jean. This one's another nice little top. The brand is Lalina. A bit hard to tell what size it is, possibly only an 8. It is fairly small. Again, I wouldn't normally pick up something that small, but I thought it was quite pretty. And then when I checked the actual clothing tag, it is a bit hard to read because it's getting a bit worn in its vintage state. It actually says made in Hong Kong, which is a dead giveaway that it is vintage. So I picked that one up too. The next one I've got is not vintage, but the brand is Versa, I think. Don't know, haven't had this brand before. The reason I'm showing you this one is it's 100% silk. So again, another nice pickup for $1. Then we have this pair of nice little pedal pusher type pants. They're super stretchy, size 10. Again, because they are so nice, I decided to get them even though they're sort of smaller than my usual price ranges. Size ranging, I mean. But they've got some really nice stitching detail on them. And they are MEL or MEL, whichever you like to say. Again, Viscose nylon and lycra blend. And then I turned it over and it said made in Melbourne, Australia. Gotta love that for $1. This one isn't vintage, I don't think. But hey, for $1, I'm not going to leave a Ralph Lauren top sitting there. It's a size extra small, as I tend to find most of the designer brands are in the really small sizes, which is always disappointing. But it's a gorgeous little boho sort of, you know, gypsy type thing. A lot of smocking. The pleating is really gathered up really nicely. A cheesecloth type of fabric. It is 55% cotton, made in India. So another nice little one. This is my first cut brand in Melbourne. I don't always pick up this brand, even though it is vintage, because they did make sort of business wear type clothing, and some of the fabrics are a bit, you know. This is a size 10, but I did love the floral. I thought it was really, really pretty. So I grabbed that one too. Then I got this beautiful stretched skirt, size 12, a vintage Jeff Bade skirt, nylon, rayon and spandex. No wonder it's stretchy. Really nice little skirt with all the little panels that you can see on it. Then we have this one. This is a new brand for me, so I really do not know much about it. It's called JM Women. It's a 16W, presumably wide. I don't really know. It's 100% cotton, made in India, fully lined. Really lovely little piece of fabric. I think I've actually somehow missed the transition from the Salvo store to the other shop, because this did come from the other shop. So all the stuff that you're going to see here on in, plus I think the Jeff Bade skirt you're looking at 30 cents, if that. Now this is brown Tony's, which is nice, and it's got a nice little border around the edge in some other colours. Unsure again whether it is vintage, but it's got a vintage look. Good old Fletcher Jones. Some of these I won't pick up either, because like they are a bit grandma-ish, and I should say my mum, who would by now, if she was still alive, be about 94. She lived in Fletcher Jones skirts, but some of them they're worth picking up. Now this particular one I thought was nice because it is just the skirt. It's not the actual kilt style. It is just a grey pleated skirt, and it's a wool blend, I believe. Will we find that? Because they have so many tags. Yes, so this is 80% wool with a 20% polyester in it. Nice little skirt. Next one is a Christopher K clothing, little short sleeve shirt in an XXL. Again, made in Australia. The fabric on this is really nice. It's going to be one that doesn't go out of shape. You can see the nice little bit of embroidery detail on the shoulders. And with this little detail there, it sort of gives it a little bit of height in the shoulders, which we would have really loved in the 80s, without actually having a shoulder pad in it. So that's quite nice. Next one is a new brand for me. Sorali, Australia. It's a size 12. It's 100% cotton, made in Australia. And it's a lovely little fitted shirt, as you can see, with this gorgeous embroidered floral design. So I think that one will come up a treat. This one, there's a couple of things in the shop that did have a couple of little marks on them. They had a little bit of rain damage. So some things got a little bit of dirt on them. So that's one that'll have to go in the wash. Something unusual now, which is that I don't find a lot of, wish I could find more of, is vintage plus size Australian made clothing. And that's exactly what these pants are. So we've got Susan Blake, size 22. They are made of polyester and really nice. They're a lovely cut and the material hardly been worn by the look of them. So really nice to find something like that. And of course, always got to get a little bit excited when I find a pair of R.M. Williams. I believe, without getting into these too much when I picked them up, but I think these are the vintage tag, but I'm not. Look, I don't find enough R.M. Williams to be 100% on what they are, but that's got that red tag there, so I'm hoping that they are vintage. They're 42 regular, so fingers crossed. Longhorn made, oh yeah, they will be vintage because they're made in Australia. Silly girl. Last pair I got of those, I was a bit disappointed when I got home because they'd been hemmed. That pair has not been hemmed, which is great. Then I've got this nice pair of RB Sellers pants. Their waist is 122S, 48 inch. I'm not sure what the 122S is, but like, they're big. They're a really good size. So for me to pick up, they're 100% cotton. Don't think they're vintage because they're made in China, but they're a nice, they've got a nice soft feel. They're worn in like a nice vintage pair of jeans should be. So I think they should go okay. Then we've got a Sovrano is the brand, 3X pure new wool jumper. Again, a brand I haven't had before, something a bit different. And I really picked this one up because I just thought I really haven't done much in men's knitwear, so it'll be nice to have a bit of explorer in that area. The next one is this gorgeous, this is actually a dress. And it's got just a simple round neck, shoulder pads in the top, a little cinched in waist, and it does come with a self fabric belt there. It would be below the knee, like a midi length. Would look great with a little black jacket or other coloured jacket over the top. It is vintage, of course. Now, the brand is Heidi. It is a size 18, so that is a plus size. The only thing the tags do not tell me is actually where it was made. It is polyester, of course, because it's about that vintage. So I will have to do a little bit of investigating as to whether Heidi is actually an Australian brand or whether it is not, because I'm not entirely sure. And that is the tag. Then we've got this nice Regatta Sports, 100% cotton, made in Australia, sort of a dark creamy, almost a beigey, size 8, plus size 18. I haven't actually laid it out to compare it with other sizes yet, but it does seem to be like an oversized type shirt. So that'll be really, really good. And you've got to remember, all of those things lucky to have cost me 30 cents. Now, the next thing we've got is these jackets I picked up yesterday. They are from an up shop in my own town. Unfortunately, that up shop is closing down. I thought I had picked over their stock pretty well, but obviously I missed a few good items. So I was in there getting some books because I'm getting all the books that they've got left, and came across these on the coat rack. So we've got a really nice, my size, Australia, made in Australia it is, size 18. And this is just something a little bit different too. So instead of having buttons down the fronts and make it a bit dressier, they've got these really nice ties. So I'll just pull that up and undo that. So they've got these ties. Nice soft ties there to do up. That's the front closure. So that's really nice. And the fabric on that is really, really nice too. And you can tell it hasn't had much wear. Then we've got this one, which is the Moto brand. Bring that up for you. This one's again vintage, made in Australia. This is a lovely pinstripe. Oh, look, I'll go here if this has actually ever been worn, because it just feels like it's never ever been worn. It's got 3 buttons down the front. Whether it came with the cuffs folded back, I'm unsure of, or whether the previous owner did that. I have left that as it is because it's easier probably, but if that's the way it was meant to be, I've left it like that. Fully lined. It is got quite a bit of stretch in it. It is 66% rayon, 23% nylon, 6% poly, and 5% spandex. Size 14, fully lined again, beautiful, and would make a great addition to anyone's wardrobe. And this one, oh, this one's lovely. And it's only a size 10, which is really sad. But we have an Anthea Crawford jacket. And it is just, when you look at how it's been made, you can just see why the original would have cost so much money. Like, it's just beautiful. So this particular jacket, or blazer style, has a lovely satin collar. I'll just pull it out again. It's got 4 buttons and it's quite shaped. So we've got all this here. So it's quite cinched in at the waist. And these here, there is a sewn-in satin strip in all of these here. And we've got the satin on the buttons as well. So it is an absolutely beautiful piece. It's, again, fully lined, which you would expect. And even better, it is, the outer is, if I can get this in the right spot, 100% wool. So the lining is rayon, but the actual coat is, not only is it an Anthea Crawford, but it is 100% wool and has the Woolmark tag. And proudly made in Australia. So that's a beautiful piece. Now, the deal with this particular op shop is that you can take what you want at this stage, because they are closing in the next week or so, and it's a rather large store and they had a lot of stock. So you can take what you like and make a donation. So realistically, I could say that this cost me nothing, but that's not the case because I did make a small donation. So I've been keeping tabs of sort of each time I go in there and pick up books and things, because I could have the books for nothing too, but I think that's a bit unfair. She did me a bulk deal on kids' books a while ago, so I'm sort of using that as a guide to how much I donate. So when I go back the next time, I leave the donation and then I take my next lot of books, and just so that I can get them bit by bit instead of bringing them all home at once. But yeah, that was gorgeous. And the last one in the Australian vintage little lot is a Fahrenheit 100, size 12, navy, a lovely little navy. This is a lighter weight jacket than some of the others. And it is, you know, the good old polyester, made in Australia. It's a 4-button down, size 12, little button detail on the sleeves there. Just a great little versatile jacket as well. The good thing about this, getting a jacket or something like this, is that they never date. I mean, you can have one of these in your wardrobe for years and years and years. Unfortunately, most of us change shape that much that they're not going to fit in years and years and years and years. But, you know, go and get a vintage one. Come to Grogy's Patch store and buy yourself a vintage one. So that's it. That's my little haul of Australian vintage fashion, which hopefully I'm going to work very hard this weekend to try and get as much of it up on my store as I can, because I do need to catch up on posting a bit of stuff since my little COVID rest, and I had to close the store for 10 days. So I'll try and get as much of all of this up online as I can. See you next time.